Welcome back. Welcome to Wednesday, December 22nd, news of the day. And there's some news to discuss. So, we'll start off with the Flames officially confirming what leaked out last night, which leaked out through the mayor of Calgary, that they were pulling out of the project, and they basically cited escalating costs. Like, nah, it's escalating costs, and well, all projects have escalating costs. I think it's more of a surprise when they don't. When they say, "Hey, so $200 million budget, we got it done for 150 million. Here's your other 50 million back, and we're good." That's not generally. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have things that make everything get more expensive. I can't remember seeing a project, whether it's government, private, whatever, where they say, "Hey, we came in really well under budget." It's rare. May happen, but it's rare. So they've pulled out of the project. They've also declared they're going to stay in the Saddledome, which is odd because the quest to replace the Saddledome goes back at least 5 years. March of 2017, or August of 2015, they unveiled Calgary Next. So that's 6 years ago. That died in March of 2017 and was replaced by the current project, which apparently just died. March 15th of 2017, this is where Bettman's in Calgary saying they need a new building. The Saddledome's not good enough. So either they figured out a way to make the Saddledome good enough, or we're just going to hear about another new Calgary project at some point in the future, or they're going to find a way back into this project. And whether this is simply a matter of trying to get the city to pay more, whether it's trying to get the Alberta government to get involved, whatever they're looking at. I do wonder if they're actually happy with the idea of, all right, well, we'll just stay in the Saddledome, or if that's their way of saying, well, we'll just stay here if we have to. And again, remembering that, it goes back 4 years, 4.5, almost 5 years, to when Bettman was basically hinting that if they can't find a new building outside of the Saddledome, this team may not be viable in Calgary. So again, unless something's changed, that's what the opinion was at the time. Now, with the Olympic pullout being official as well, there's already discussions about whether or not the NHL might throw a World Cup of Hockey. My issue with the World Cup of Hockey is a simple one. When you use the term World Cup, it reminds me of the FIFA World Cup, which I'm really looking forward to seeing next year. And World Cup to me says it's everybody in the world can potentially have a shot at it. Like here, Canada, has a good chance of going to the World Cup right now. Really, fingers crossed on that one, because Canadian soccer has never been fantastic, but right now it looks the best I think it ever has, and that includes, for me anyways, it includes the 1986 team that actually went to the World Cup. This team, it feels like, might be able to actually do something in said World Cup. But if we're going to have a World Cup of Hockey again, I think they should have a tournament where there's a qualifier. And I think they should open it up to non-NHL players. Because to me, when it's a World Cup of Hockey, but it's just NHL players, and they've set up a Team North America and a Team Europe, so they get Slovenia in there, and so they get all the kids in the lineups, and they get as many stars as possible. It's basically, it's an NHL showcase more than it's a World Cup of Hockey. So if they want to do a World Cup of Hockey, then I think the best move would be to have it work like a miniature version of the World Cup of soccer, and have qualifying tournaments. I think that would be really fun. I think that'd be great. Get extra eyeballs on that tournament, I would think, if you made it look like it was actually a World Cup. But if they're going to do it that way, I think they should just call it like the NHL Showcase. Have some other way of selling it. You can still leave them as like countries, but I think if they do a Team North America and a Team Europe again, it's weird. It's really weird. But yeah, so we'll see what they plan to do. And I agree with people who are saying it's a shame we won't see McDavid and Crosby on the same team in an international tournament. Oh, I absolutely agree. And so I'd like to see the NHL do something like that, which would, be a nice gesture to the players. And it's another revenue stream for an NHL that may very well need that in 2022. So coming back to National Hockey League news of the current variety, Jordan Greenway, who missed their last game, Dean Evison is basically stating he should be fine after the break. He should be able to play their next game after the break. And there are definitely bonuses to having these extra days off for players who are hurt, and guys who might be banged up a little bit too might enjoy the extra couple of days off. Nolan Patrick, his return is seen as close for the Vegas Golden Knights. He was a full participant in practice, so he's close. And Martinez, who suffered a face laceration from a skate as well as a concussion. He's progressing. The return date for him is unknown, but they're looking to get him into practice and get him out there, and they have to ease him back because with concussions, that's kind of how that works. World Junior Championship news. So the World Juniors this year, there might be some extra eyeballs on that to start off, due to the NHL being shut down through the 26th. So maybe there'll be some extra eyeballs on Boxing Day for the start of the tournament, where they've announced there'll be 50% capacity at the games. There'll also be 50% capacity at Calgary and Edmonton games after the break too. But Jake Sanderson's been named Team USA captain for their World Junior Championship team, joining Caden Gooley, who was named as captain for Canada, and it was announced by Sidney Crosby. So for the captains, kind of a fun experience there, having Sidney Crosby do that announcement. And with Gooley, of course, he's a huge part of the future for the Montreal Canadiens, same as Sanderson is for Ottawa. The Ottawa Senators, you look at their issues currently, and the blue line is I think better than it gets credit for, but it needs improvement. Jake Sanderson, when he's ready and he turns pro and he's in their lineup, that could be a huge difference maker for them. Sanderson really has a very high upside. Coming back to the Montreal Canadiens. So with the Quebec government saying no fans in attendance, the NHL is looking at that and saying, Montreal generates a lot of revenue with the home attendance. We can stomach 50% with certain teams, but 0 doesn't work. So they may reschedule games in January so that Montreal's on the road during January to try to ensure that when Montreal does play at home, there'll be fans in attendance. And again, it is a situation that's still developing. We will see how long those measures are in place, right? So yeah, the idea is that if Montreal might end up with a nice long road trip in January if they can't have fans at home. So that ensures the NHL doesn't lose as much money. But again, what we're looking at with the shutdown and having to reschedule everything, the NHL is going to lose some money on this. So the rescheduling itself, basically, they're asking NHL teams to give them building availability dates. And if they're asking for all building availability dates, we're going to see a rescheduling, not just of the games that are postponed, but of the whole thing. I would think that, and that's why in recent previews I hadn't been talking about future dates that teams were going to play against one another, because we really don't know. The whole schedule right now is up in the air, and it's going to affect a lot, because those 3 weeks in February that now will fill up with games, they're going to have to move games in there that actually weren't canceled or like that weren't postponed, because some of the games that were postponed can only fit into other dates. It's going to be kind of a mess. But, we'll see what happens. I have a game I'm going to in Vancouver in April against the Dallas Stars. Will it still be in April, or will that game be moved to March? Or does it get moved to later in April? I have no idea. I picked that date because, well, it's Dallas for one, and secondly, there weren't that many games on that night. For all I know now, they may move it to a Saturday. I have no idea. And then there's the matter of ticketing. So I guess if you already have tickets, you're good. But then the remaining tickets, depending on what day of the week that those are on, sometimes Saturday games, I know in Vancouver, Saturday games tend to be more expensive. This could absolutely wreak havoc with just ticketing and all of it. Just all of it. It could be a lot of fun and chaos from here. So we'll see what they do, how the rescheduling works. They're doing their best to make sure they don't go past April 29th, because you don't want the Stanley Cup to be contested in July. You don't want to be putting games on really late, because the ratings show people don't watch hockey as much when it's incredibly hot outside. People don't necessarily want to be inside watching hockey games. And so we'll see. We'll see how all of this turns out, how the rescheduling works, and which teams are looking at really long road trips, really long homestands, and how many teams end up with 3 games in 4 nights. So if you're cheering for a team that didn't have a lot of back-to-backs, maybe you will after the rescheduling, and vice versa. You might be cheering for a team that had a lot of back-to-backs and now they won't. So we'll see what happens. Not reporting at this point on who is or going into protocol or coming out. I'm not. Nope. We'll deal with that when we get closer to the 27th. because that list is just, it's insane. So we'll just deal with this for right now, which involves rescheduling, World Cup, and about the Flames. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.